Hello and welcome to my Learn With Me Minifreak series. This is episode 18, Expressive Lead. So first, what is a Learn With Me series? A Learn With Me series is a series where you follow my end-to-end process in learning to get the best out of a synthesizer. In this case, it is the Arturia Minifreak. So far we've gone through all of the features and we've designed a couple of sounds. The sounds have been more along the lines of pads and broader textures. So I'm going to go for something a little more straightforward this time, which is a lead. In particular, I'm going to go for what I call an expressive lead. So expressive here means that I would like to get some amount of expression from velocity, maybe even not velocity, but probably aftertouch and the mod wheel. I probably won't go into the macros just to avoid spending too long, but that's another place that I would look. So first, let's get our basic sound. It will be monophonic, little shape on the front there. Little bit of glide. First thing I'm thinking of is we got to shape these oscillators. So let's pick bass wave. So that's quite a nice, strong, punchy sort of sound there. So let's add a second oscillator and let's use the same wave shape type. So that was called VA, and maybe I'll try and make it quite similar initially. So all the parameters are around the middle. So let's try and do the same thing here. I'll turn this up and I'll turn the other one down. But then I'll run this one. By default, a init patch has a slight detune, so let's do the detune. I'm going to have one oscillator up a little, one oscillator down a little, and now let's look at the pitch. So this one's going to be, I think, a sub oscillator, and this one is going to be on pitch. So let's turn the sub down, and let's turn the main oscillator up. Now bring the sub in. Okay, so what I want to do, one of the things that I find a little awkward when playing monophonically, and the reason that I said I'm probably not going to use velocity, is because it's a single sound playing and we've got things like glide. If I use velocity expression to too great a degree, when I move between notes, you'll hear a jump in the sound. So I'm going to make this velocity aftertouch row only be aftertouch. So I'm going to use the cycling envelope, not cycling, but rather as a second envelope. A slightly different shape to the first, I guess, and I'm going to use this with the cutoff. So now I'm going to route it through, cycling envelope to cutoff. I think that's working, but now I'm going to start doing some velocity sensitivity. I might run the main envelope here a little bit as well. Yeah, let's think. Have that not happen at all. So this parameter, I'm going to have aftertouch allow me to push it a little. So I'm going to turn it down. And I know I want it to go up by about 20. So assignable 1 is going to be that routing, and aftertouch is going to bring it up by about 20. I find that's even a little bit too strong, so let's bring this down to 10. And I think this is one of the things with making expressive sounds. You spend a lot of time fine-tuning I'm going to leave that a little too closed, and now I'm going to use the mod wheel to open up the filter a little. So let's give that a go. Mod wheel is up. Mod wheel to filter. And let's have the mod wheel maybe adjust resonance a bit. So I like that a little better. I think the rise was a little too slow. Let's have a look at other envelope parameters. So we only have a way of adjusting the retrig here in this envelope to either be continuous, meaning that the envelope will continue if I press another note from where it was, or for it to be reset, so it'll restart. And I think that is probably the right mode for it to be continuous. For the cycling envelope, we have triggering mode. So that's polyphonically with the keyboard. I think I'd like it to be legato. I think that makes sense. I don't need any tempo synchronization there. Trying to decide if I actually want that vibrato. So that's the bend range. Vibrato depth. Okay, so we can have it. So I think that's a bit strong. So there's some vibrato. I quite like that fast vibrato for this. So I feel like I need a little velocity sensitivity here. It's important not to go too far with velocity sensitivity, and this row is only for aftertouch, but I can adjust directly how much the velocity affects the amplitude. that opening of the filter is a little too strong, so let's dial that back just a little bit. A little more release. So now for a little more expression. So where can I find more expression? Maybe I can adjust the balance between the oscillators. So maybe with Aftertouch, I can bring in a little more of oscillator 2. So oscillator 2, I've turned it down a bit. So now with Aftertouch, I can have oscillator 2 come in a bit. So you hear that bass comes up there. I'm tempted to try this with Unison, so let's give it a go. So let's look at the voice mode. Unison spread is pitch spread. Don't want to get too much into that kind of pulsating sound. Doesn't adjust in real time, it seems. I wish I could adjust the unison counts dynamically somehow, but I don't seem to be able to. Okay, so I think I'm going to go 5 here. A little bit less spread. Try it lower. Pretty nice in the bass. Let's see if we want to adjust any of the parameters within the oscillator. So let's just experiment with them a little bit. I like that detune actually. Let's move on, see if there's anything else to adjust. I'm tempted to try and bring this shape parameter up a little bit. Do I have anything mapped? No. So with the Aftertouch, bring shape up a bit. And I'm going to do the same with the mod wheel. I was experimenting adjusting that vibrato depth, but as I've mentioned before, if you don't press the encoder down after you set a value, I think the filter's a bit too open in the high register, so I'm going to modulate that down a little. The unison is a bit too strong here again. So back in voices, I'm going to turn the unison count down to 3. So finally some effects, I think. Let's see. I can have these effects be adjustable by the mod wheel as well, because the mod wheel is a global. See if we want one or the other, maybe soft clip. Wet dry about 40, so maybe I'm going to make it adjustable by, by 20 by the aftertouch and by 20 by the mod wheel. So I'm going to have a sort of combination of the expression of that parameter between the two. So let's listen to that. That's sounding good. I might turn the sustain down a little. Okay, I think that's sounding good. Now let's try a second effect here. Maybe a filtered ping pong. Sounding good, and maybe just a touch of reverb on there. I'm going to set it up to very high, and I can dial it back. I don't want it too long, so I'm going to go with the dark room here. I'm going to make it long, so I can listen to. Okay, so I think that was what I wanted to do here. I spent a little longer than I intended. Lead sounds always feel like they're going to be very straightforward, but you find yourself tweaking a lot, especially around the expression. Let's try and play a little lead line. can hear that there's quite a lot of scope for different timbres available here. This is only using one of the algorithms. This is just adding a little bit of possibility for motion with the mod wheel and with aftertouch and a touch of velocity. I hope you can see that though I've been focusing on very, very broad, very highly modulated and evolving sounds, that's not all that you can do with this synthesizer. You can do something that's a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more direct. In any case, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope you'll join me for some more, but most importantly, thank you very much for joining me today, and goodbye.